Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 122 of the All in Football Fantasy Premier League show and podcast. I'm your host, the self-proclaimed FPL guru, Alex Rex, and joining me once again are my usual suspects, Barry Stokes and Scott Williams. Barry, where in the world are you today?
I've just picked up the in-laws dog, so I'm just parked up, ready to go and enjoy. So yeah,
Nice, that's good. That's all right. What type of dog is it?
it's a cockapoo.
Very cute, very lovely. Scott, you love dogs.
I do love dogs. Yes, I seen the cockapoo a minute ago when you're having technical issues. Very cute dog. And just to remind everyone, that's the dog and Baz in his Tesla. Need to get that.
Yes, absolutely. And he will be charging it so he can zoom home later on. Yes, apologies. We'll have to do a shorter podcast this week. So I've had some lovely technical issues, which are, I don't know why, and I'll never understand why, but there we go. So don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms, Upload Pod, All in Football P, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, join our legions of followers. And also, don't forget to listen on Spotify or wherever else you get your podcasts from. Give us 5-star rating. We are the most listened to podcast for a few people this year on their Spotify's. So thank you very much to everyone who's doing that. Send us in your links. Send us the you can share it if we are on your top five, and then we'll put it on our stories because we're very pleased with that. I know I certainly am. Let's crack on. Right, so we are in the midst of game week 14. We've got two games left on this Thursday. Great game week so far for everyone, I'm sure. Let's not talk about Scott's transfers, but but game week 13, manager of the week, we've got to get covered off. And that was, well, we had a joint manager of the week, actually. We had Jack Howcroft with 100 points. So well done to you, Jack, having the Saka, Palmer, Bruno, Salah midfield work with Jackson and Visser up front, and Bumo, Aina, O'Shea, Vanderberg, and Sells. Yeah, even a Chris Wood on your bench, mate. So you could have done even better. That's how well things are going for you at this very moment in time in FPL. And also, we had Christopher Barras, who I am going to guess is related to Heather. I think might, but which is who is Jack's wife. So maybe that's the case. I might be assuming something wrong there. But well done to Christopher Barras. That'll be the Diaz, another 100-pointer. Raya, Gabriel, Virgil van Dijk, Aina, Salah and Boomer Palmer, Clivert. What a shout! Cunha, Wood, and Watkins. That's the sort of differential that Barry wishes he had every single week. That Clivert
And
shout
shorter
is.
that week as well.
Yeah, Sharda was unreal. He had his week, didn't he? Where he does unbelievable. Um, to wrap up the league admin, I need to give out manager of the month for November, and it was the month of the Howcroft. Jack top 299 points. Well done to you, Jack. Jamie Rhodes in second. Heather Howcroft. You got beat by Jack by 19 points in the end, but well done for coming third. Top of our league, Sam Camoni going strong and doing really well in fourth, and Costa Papa Giannopoulos. I nailed that, I think, in fifth. A few Cinderella stories under here. David Byrne, Callum Burnett, Arnie Slot, Christian Filipov, and Gavin Webb and Ali Farrell. Some names that we've mentioned a lot on this podcast have done really well in the month of November. So, lads, we are we've had the midweek, and now we are looking at three weekend deadlines. We've got the 7th, the 14th, and the 21st of December before we hit that Christmas rush of Boxing Day, the 29th and the 4th of January. So what we're going to focus on this week is these next three fixtures and players from teams that we think we're going to be able to pick from. So I've picked a selection of teams for us to review. Um, let's have a look, Barry. What team did I tell you to have a look at? Because I can't remember because I've not written it down in front of me.
It was Bournemouth and Wolves.
Bournemouth and
So
Wolves.
might as well
Of
go
course.
go alphabetical and start with Bournemouth, shall we?
Let's do it. I'll read out their fixtures. Ipswich away, West Ham at home, and then Man United away for Bournemouth. So they've got two very good fixtures and then a very unpredictable one.
Yeah, it's about right. And that's how pretty much Bournemouth are, to be honest. Started off a bit ropey, and then now they're cooking on gas by the looks of it. Obviously, had some good wins against City and Arsenal, and not stopped from there since. So it'll be a good game. They've got Spurs at home tonight, so that'll be very interesting. Semedo's back as well from his ban, so yeah, so that's going to be a very good one. But to be fair, there's probably only going to be three assets that's worth having, and one's a defender, one's a midfielder, and one's a forward. So and they're near enough at the top of the list there for YouTube watchers. Is Kirkez at the back? Obviously scored a goal against Wolves. Absolutely rifled it in, a bit like Patson Daka's midweek. Yeah, just unstoppable in it, and he's going forward. He looks like a good replacement if you're getting sick of Eight Nori and get this guy in. Obviously, save a bit of money as well on that front. Um, I'd say Semenyo as well. Obviously, it's 5.7. So, obviously, Smith Rowe, if you've still got him at 5.7 and Fulham's fixtures aren't great going forward now, it's an easy straight swap. It's something that I'm potentially looking at this week, or I might go a different avenue with my team. I'm unsure about that, but obviously, with the fixtures going forward with Semenyo, he still scores against the big teams as well and assists as well. So, he was definitely on there. And Evan Nielsen, my differential draft favourite. He's definitely one to have a look at. Obviously got hat trick of assists of winning penalties. So he's always there amongst them. He's horrible to probably mark as well because he's always in your face. Bit similar to probably like a Diego Costa. So it's a Diego Costa off Wish maybe. But I think he'd be a very good differential for people. I think he's 2.7% owned or something like that.
3.2.
3.2.
Yeah, 3.2.
So yeah, so with that, it's a good differential, especially if you want to get off the Welbeck or João Pedro or even a Chris Wood replacement. Could be a good shout on that one. With obviously, yeah, Forest fixtures changing, so they're my free to watch for Bournemouth. I could go on for hours talking about Tavernier and other players as well, but I think I'll just leave it as them free.
Yeah, no, I think you've picked out the three you like, and you've got Clive obviously got 20 points in one game. But there's been I've had a few people mention this. He's been starting games, and he has scored well four in his last three now. If you like that, he has put a couple of goals in. So I mean, maybe it push him, maybe in a draft scenario. I wouldn't again. Christopher Barris has done well having him in Maine, hasn't he, to get that result? So fair play to him. Anything to add on Bournemouth, Scott, before we move on to Barry's analysis of the probably one of the most inconsistent teams in the league?
Yeah, nothing to add there. No, don't get trolled in by Clive at this point. It was three penalties. Still got scoring, but yeah, not had a history of putting big runs of points together. So we'll see. The confidence might hit him and might go on a run.
Yeah, totally agree, Scott. I think Barry, right, Evan Nilsson, Semenya, and Kirkez. I agree with those picks entirely. Barry, talk to us about these boys then.
But what's Wolves fixtures going forward for people so they're aware?
Still good. I mean, West Ham away, Ipswich at home, and Leicester away. They've
So
got
yeah,
some
well,
really good fixtures, considering as well. West Ham apparently they're going to keep him Lopetegui for this fixture. So who knows?
the
Who
El
knows?
Sacchio.
El Sacchio. Go on. Who do you think then? Or anything to add
Well,
on what
the
we've
guy
gone
that's
through?
on screen for YouTube watchers, obviously Cunha we're singing praises every week near enough. Obviously blanked against Everton, but I think everyone did, and he also blanked against Bournemouth. So it was my guy that did the business, and thank you, Callum Burnett, for this pun. I stand by my man, and he did well for me. So yes, so for me, I think there's only probably three again, but. I'm tempted to get off the eight Nori train. I don't think he's getting forward enough for me. Even with them fixtures going forward, I'm just thinking there's no clean sheet there. He's not giving you a lot going forward. Is it worth getting on the Kirkes shout, as I mentioned, or going somewhere else and potentially upgrading? Because he's 4.9%, 4.9 million now. And
Hmm.
he hasn't really looked that dangerous. And I just think is it worth keeping him? And there's other defenders there that are potentially you could get Gusto for that at 4.9. And with Chelsea's fixtures going forward, long run is looking good, apart from obviously the Tottenham one. And obviously Strand Larson as well. So basically two attackers, but you're not going to have both of them. But if you had to pick one out of them two, you'd be obviously picking Cunha. But if you only got that bracket of 6 million to 5.5 million, then Strand Larson is worth a shout. But he's like as I mentioned about Evan Nilsson is a Costa off Wish. Strand Larson is a Haaland off Wish. So yeah.
I think the strange thing about Aït Nouri is right. He played on the left of a three at the back instead of the wing back role at the game before this one, and then he played a left back in a back four, I think, against Everton. So it's just been a bit weird, really. He's almost become blunt as an attacking option in the last 2 game weeks, but then before that he was in the penalty area. He was playing as a striker. It
Yeah.
felt like from left wing back. So I wouldn't be wasting a transfer on getting rid of him with those fixtures coming up. Personally, I think if you I think with the way with the tactics now are with being able to bank transfers and this that and the other and being able to have five maybe up to in terms of a number, I don't think he's worth spending a transfer on. Whereas if like in last season when you had two frees and you had no attacking choices, you instead of burning the transfer, you'd use it, wouldn't you? So yeah, I think I'd be holding Aït-Nouri for now. I wouldn't be buying him, but well, I am holding him. I've got him. So that's exactly what I am going to do. I think that leads us on really nicely, Scott, to the team that they are playing on Monday and the team that is really, it seems to be struggling at this very moment in time. Um, West Ham, a a really good win against Newcastle, a 2-0 win. And then they've got beaten 5-2 at home by Arsenal and then 3-1 away, Leicester. Fixtures coming up. They've got Wolves at home, Bournemouth away, Brighton at home, Southampton away in the next four. So some key fixtures there. What's going wrong with them? And should we pick any of them in FPL or steer clear?
They've turned into quite a fun team to watch, though. Like you said, those games there. The Arsenal game was a crazy game, 4-0 down, and then get themselves back into it, and then concede the fifth just before half time. Yeah, I feel like that the Newcastle win was a really good grind out result away at Newcastle. I think it's just a really solid win. And then for me, actually, they've started playing a bit more expansive football, which the fans have been really asking for. I think you put in the group. We all watched the Leicester game on Tuesday night. They were all over them for long periods of that game. They had so many chances. And actually, they should have scored two or three themselves. And you could argue, obviously, that Leicester's third goal that came quite on late on in the game anyway. So they should have really got something out of that. So I think they're going to be disappointed after that Newcastle win. But yeah, he's playing a bit more expansive, which for me would bring in potential assets such as everything they seem to do good attacking wise seems to be coming through Bowen, which is no surprise probably to anyone. He's the highest point scorer there. He does look decent, but I still think at 7.4 million, he's too expensive for what he's actually returning at the minute. Gary Bowen from last season, yeah, definitely an asset, definitely worth an asset. They can't keep clean sheets. Areola and Fabianski, I mean, they don't give me a lot of confidence. Baz used to refer to him back in the day as Flapianski when he was at Swansea. I remember that.
Mm.
And he was very much like that. So obviously he gave a right good write up to Gabriel, didn't he, at the weekend? But no, I wouldn't be looking as a defensive team. But I mean, the only one you could maybe look at 4.5 million is Wan-Bissaka. He's obviously scored two in a row, and he's getting forward quite a lot.
The
Which
expected
was
the
quite.
expected assists on that, Scott, by the way, in the game, 0.2 for expected assists. I mean, that's the amount of like half chances he created when they have 31 shots. He was really unlucky not to get an attacking return as well in that Leicester game as well, I have to say.
Yeah, and it's quite strange because that's not what he's renowned for. Like he was not that bombing up player at Man United. He was always renowned for his defensive tackling and stuff like that. But he is one that you would probably keep half an eye on, especially at 4.5 mil. It's pretty cheap, isn't it? Especially if you wanted to move away from an eight Nori, like we said. But yeah, big game coming up. I think that obviously I think if they lose to Wolves, I think it's curtains. You can't be losing to that Wolves team at home. But I think if they get a result, I think they continue to play a bit more expansive, then they should keep the manager. He's listened and he's trying to turn it around. And my days, the players have got there, the money they've spent, they should be.
No, I could totally agree with that. And Baz, anything to add on these boys? Anything to add on West Ham before I do a whistle stop tour of Arsenal?
No, not really. I could talk a bit more about the wingers, but obviously they're quite rotation risks, really. So yeah, just
Yeah.
leave it there.
they're that sort of team, aren't they? Where like they've got some big returns in them, but you're probably going to miss them because they haven't got the consistency. Um, Arsenal wise, I mean, you get no special points or pats on the back for picking out the team that's one of the teams that's probably still going to be challenging for the title. Fulham away, Everton at home, Arsenal, Palace away, Ipswich at home, Brentford away. The next five fixtures are really, really good for them. Um, Obviously, a lot of people brought in Saka this week to blank against Man United. I was one of
Yeah,
them.
same.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, look, generally, I stand by the point of I think for those up and coming fixtures, two clean sheets in the last three now. They I would want a piece of their defense in my team. I mean, I've doubled up on it, like I made the point on a previous podcast. But I think if you were going to spend a bit of money on a defender, it would be on one of these defenders, one of these Arsenal defenders. Depending on Gabriel's injury, then it might be Saliba. But I'm also happy to have David Raya at 5.5 in goal. I think him and Flapianski together as a duo is fine in terms of value. Um, and yeah, in terms of attacking assets, it's as simple as the other guys are too much of a rotation risk. The main man who's going to play every week, Saka, I'd struggle. I think there's so much good value, 6.8, 6.8. These sorts of prices, 7.9 even for Havertz is okay. It's still probably a bit expensive considering the other striking options we've got. A couple of the midfielders, Martinelli, Trossard, Odegaard at 8.3 is probably a touch expensive again for his output. But yeah, look, and the other person I think I do want to shout out is probably Timber. When you're looking at a right back, when with White being out for a little while, from an attacking output point, um, potentially good value there at 5.6 compared to some of the other guys. But that's where I'd be. But has anything to add on Arsenal?
You took words out of my mouth. I was going to mention Timber. That's why I'm potentially holding fire with a transfer this week because I want a piece of that Arsenal defence, especially with the fixtures going forward and they're looking more solid again. So I was going to potentially either that take Smith Rowe out and downgrade him to Diblin and potentially even go for a Gabriel or a Timber and bank that money. So that is a potential option for me for the next game week. So I might do that, but it all depends on how long Gabriel's out for.
Yeah, yeah, I need to find that out. From that side and that point of view, yeah, 'cause it's a disappointing one really to have him in, and he's just a lot of money to not sure if he's playing or not. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out a little bit more about how long he'll be out for. Let's have a look at Villa. I've picked Villa because although Forest away isn't easy, City at home, Newcastle they aren't easy. They've just got the best fixture on the calendar next. And I suppose the main question I wanted to ask you, Baz, on this one, and I also had put it to Scott as well, is is it worth buying a Villa player, and if so, who, for this fixture and potentially the next, because Forest have lost the last two, they've not been the best form, or are you skipping this fixture and just not going to touch Villa?
I'm quite fortunate. I've already got double Villa as it is. I've got Digne and Rodgers. But my fear is in between them two fixtures, there's a Champions League. So is he going to rest a Watkins in this next game? Is he going to rest a Rodgers in against Southampton? It it's one of them around that time. It's around the rotation period around this Christmas time. So it's difficult, and I'd be holding them players that I've got. But obviously, it's difficult because you want a piece of that action against Southampton, especially obviously with they're getting people back from suspensions, but they looked very ropey at the back. They haven't Ramsdale might be back, but Lumley can't play with his feet. McCarthy can't play with his feet, and they just get caught all the time, and that's how Russell Martin played, and it was just they just draw pressure on him. They just don't understand where you draw him in, then you just go a bit long. But he doesn't want to do that. He just wants to keep playing football. He's not Man City, but obviously, well, they're back to good ways. But it he's trying to play like that with players that can't do it. Nathan Wood came in and looked good actually for Southampton, but obviously still they conceded that many goals. But he looked half decent, especially for a 4 million defender. But you won't be screaming out for one of them. But I'm dwiggling on about not them and going past the point of Aston Villa. So
Mhm.
for me, uh, is it a gamble worth getting Watkins in for him to sit on the bench a bit like what Jackson did? I don't know. I think I'm gonna might bypass it.
Yeah, I chose to bypass because I was considering bringing him in for this week and next. Like like going that way. He was an option for wild card, and he was also an option for coming in for Isak. If he wasn't fit. But yeah, I've also got Rodgers and Digne, and I won't be buying any more Villa players. Uh, Scott, what do you think from your side? Would Watkins be somebody you'd be trying to get into your team, or any of these other players you'd be trying to, or you're not bothered about the form? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, like Southampton, they're terrible, aren't they? The
They're
absolute
really
filthy
bad,
bag.
man.
Uh, and you want a piece that, like last night, obviously got spanked. I mean, one thing I would say is if I'm not bringing in the defensive because Southampton score, they do get an odd goal in
Mhm.
most games. So I wouldn't be bringing in any defensive assets, but you've probably got Rodgers, who returned nicely. I feel like it's been a while since he did return. Watkins, feel like you say, if Isaac was out for 3 months, like we were promised. Um, anyone else? Shout out to anyone else that brought Jackson in for Isaac last night. Um, it's a good job we were on the beers, mate. That made that a lot easier.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think it is worth a gamble if you're chasing. If you're top of the league, probably not. But if you're chasing, I don't think it's the worst gamble to get him in. But depends who you want though, because I've just looked at my team. Wolves are playing West Ham. We know how leaky they are. So if you've got Cunha, Isaac, Newcastle have got a nice fixture, so you probably keep hold of him. And then it's about freeing that money up. So, but I think if you're chasing, it's worth a gamble.
Takes takes me on nicely to a bit of Newcastle chat, to be honest, Scott. Now with their fixtures coming up, being Brentford away, who don't keep clean sheets until we sell Flecken. But anyway, Brentford away, then they've got Leicester at home and Ipswich away. So two pretty good fixtures. I mean, yeah, Leicester beat West Ham 3-1, but they gave up 31 shots. So you can't continue to play like that. It's a team that's clinical, they'll get battered. Um, Baz, it, Newcastle, your thoughts on who you would look at as an option? Isak back potentially delivering any of the midfielders. I think the midfielders is a bit of a minefield, to be honest. But what are your thoughts?
So yeah, Isak took his goal really, really well against Liverpool. Absolute hammered it in. Might because he had another bone in his leg, Scott? Um, so so with that, obviously Isaac and I think Gordon's probably going to be back as well. I think he looks back in form. He's returned in his last two. So yeah, I think he's. I didn't watch obviously the game. I watched probably the second half because I was watching my captain perform and nick a goal off Nkunku. So um, so yeah, so
Everyone's
for
captain.
me,
Everyone's captain. We're all buzzing off that, I think.
yeah.
Did you
So
see that? He tweeted as well? He said, "Sorry, I needed to do it for my FPL fans."
yeah. So yeah, so for me, it'd probably be them two. Maybe a bit of their defense. And I've seen quite a lot of people getting on the Hall bandwagon. So that could be a potential shout. Because obviously they are pretty decent in defense. I know obviously conceded three against Liverpool, but that was potentially three against Salah. So yeah, so for me, I might want a piece of that defense really for Newcastle.
It's difficult, actually. We've got one clean sheet since game week 7, which was a 0 draw with Everton, and it was a 1-0 home win against Arsenal. What a weird clean sheet. I just say the only thing I would say about the is if you look at the teams that they're playing against, they all are quite free scoring. Like Brentford, Leicester, and I mean Ipswich is out free scoring. That's probably a bit far, but they still can put the ball in. Brentford and Leicester. I mean, they have cricket scores this season, some of them. So I don't know. Yeah, good value in the defense at 4.4s though, aren't they? I think that's the thing. Like the
Yeah.
value of the players are there. But yeah, I agree with you on that front in terms of the players to pick out. Isak and Gordon. Scott, pick one of them. Isak or Gordon. Who's going to do best over the next three?
Oh well, he looks dead to me for life. So Golden.
I thought that might be the case from your side. Final team to touch on are always look on the Brighton side of life. Maybe that's a podcast name for later in the year. Strand by me is absolutely should be the podcast name for this one. Thanks, Callum, for that. What are we doing? Brighton. How do we feel about Brighton? How do we feel about them as a team at the moment? Drawn the last game against Southampton, but then they beat Bournemouth and City before, lost to Liverpool, drew with Wolves. Seemed like relatively good form. They were second in the league, weren't they?
Mm.
Like so, they were they second in the league at the end of play at the weekend, or were they, no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Was
they
it
played
after
Friday night.
yeah, they
Friday
played.
night? That was
Yeah,
For Friday night
and
football.
they should have absolutely battered Southampton, but Southampton played quite well in that game, to be honest. Um, Going forward, Brighton should have just killed the game off in the first half, but they didn't, and Southampton came back at them and should
I
have won
haven't
the
bought
game as
Jack
well. But
Pedro.
we're not talking about that VAR decision because we could talk about that for a while. But yeah,
Yes, debatable stuff. Yeah, Fulham away tonight. Then they play Leicester away, Palace at home, West Ham away, and Brentford at home. So, uh, who are we looking at? Scotty Brighton players. Your face says it all. I think for YouTube watchers, you're literally like none of them turn you on, do they?
I'm not asked at all about any of them. Like the games have been like 2-1, 1-1 here, there. Like they seem to run up the pitch and try and put the ball in the goal.
I'll
Well, I
say
said that
agree.
like someone that's never described football in my life. But no, I'm not asked to be honest with you. I'm quite happy to swerve them. I think there's much better options elsewhere. Like Welbeck obviously had a good start to the season. It's gone very quiet. Matoma looked good in the last two games. Still got Fulham to play tonight. So I think if you were looking at getting a Brighton asset in, I think you wait and see how they get on. Fulham away, tricky fixture. But I João Pedro, he's been a bit of a rat as well, not returning against Southampton. I think that's uncalled for. So he's annoyed
Yes.
me, let's be honest, it's his last game tonight because he will be getting injured. He's had his run, he'll be getting injured again. So yeah, Leicester, Fulham, obviously not Fulham away because it's not in the fixture run, but Leicester away, new manager bounce, potentially going to be tricky. Crystal Palace, I feel like a team this year. You don't know what they're going to do. And then yeah, for me, no, not free scoring enough. So I'd be saying clear.
Let's have a look at the fixtures then for the weekend. And we've got Saturday the 7th of December, 11 o'clock kickoff. It's the Merseyside derby, Everton against Liverpool to start off with. Villa, Southampton, Brentford, Newcastle, Palace, Man City, and then Man United, Forest Saturday night football, which I'm looking forward to watching with you lads before I lose all my money to you at poker. On Sunday, we've got Fulham, Arsenal, Ipswich, Bournemouth, Leicester, Brighton, Spurs, Chelsea, and then West Ham, Wolves. What a couple of weird fixtures to have at 2 o'clock kickoffs on Sundays. It's just, I mean, I know it's because of the later games in the week, but weird fixtures. Anyway, lads, captains. Mo? Is it
Yeah.
Mo? Is it just Momo and we all just move on? Or what do we think? The most consistent man ever in history of FPL, basically. Anybody else, any other shouts, Baz? If you had Watkins, would you look at him against Southampton? What are you thinking?
It's that potential rotation risk. Same with Rodgers on that front. It's a very good differential, but Liverpool obviously our free score in the R and how what form Salah's in. It's quite hard not to look at it. I know Everton kept a clean sheet against Wolves, but it's very rare that Everton kept clean sheets. I know they're getting a bit solid at the back recently, but I still think Liverpool are just going to destroy them, especially in the derby as well. So
Yeah,
it's on Salah. If I had to go for another crazy shout, who's the fixtures on Monday night?
West Ham Wolves.
Hmm.
Fulcrum.
Yeah, Fulkrug, yeah, maybe, or
Finally
Burnley.
returned for you, Scott.
Yeah,
Should have had
I think
another. Should have had two.
yeah, I think what scares me about that Everton that Liverpool fixture is the fact that it's a derby and the fact that it's a 12:30 kickoff. It does scare me a bit. Everton have just kept a clean sheet as well. But that's why I would probably just verge a little bit more on that Arsenal fixture for Saka. But
Another
I
derby.
think I think if I had Watkins, I'd be captaining Watkins. But I think it's for me out Saka or Salah. But to be
Yeah.
fair, you could captain Palmer. Spurs are weird. So
There's just a load of. I think everyone. I think one of the hardest things about this week is that everyone you want to captain, basically, other than the Villa players, are away from home. Because I mean, let's be honest, Brentford's defense is awful, really. So and Isak's not a horrendous shout, but there's just better options than him this week.
Brentford
So
got the best home record as well, aren't they, in the league?
yeah,
So
they
Yeah.
can't play away, but they can play at home. It's they're just very loyal like that to all of their fans. So it just feels a bit like all of the it doesn't feel super comfortable all the way. But yeah, for me, I'm gonna go Salah and not overthink it. And then it'll be vice captain on Saka. That's where mine are going to be at this very moment in time. So everyone who's listening, don't do that because it ain't going to work. And captaincy is not the forte. Right, lads, I've got a couple of minutes left, and so we'll do differential draft off air. But let's do the 3 week punts because this is Barry's new thing. It works out to the end of the season that we can do these in threes, and I've never seen you more excited about something, Bass.
It's differentials, isn't it? You know, I get excited about that being the differential king. So yeah, it gets me going. That's what it does.
So did I do the worst last time? I'm pretty sure mine were
Yeah,
awful,
you
weren't
got
they?
yeah, you
Mount
did.
got three and Neto got three.
Yeah, it's just I mean, I've just why do I get out of bed, I think, sometimes for these picks. It's an absolute shambles. So the pick what we're doing, are we doing under fives first?
Yeah, do under fives, then go to under ones.
Fine. I'm gonna go for a Brighton pick and I'm gonna go for Jorginho Ruta at 1.8% owned.
Scott.
I forgot we were doing this. Sorry.
The Barry
Been about
literally
three or
put it
four
in
times
there.
on chat.
He was
I
fuming.
was
He was
I was drunk last night.
uh, so you and me both, mate. Today's been a good fun day to get through.
Oh, it's been a right good giggle on it. Managed to though. So the player I'm gonna so is it under 10 and under 5? Is that what we're
No,
doing?
under five and under one.
You would be wrong. All right. Oh, Guy Ferguson, what would you do?
I thought you were
So
going to Ferguson then.
Evan Firth could do. This person is he playing? Is it now, isn't he? I'm gonna go for my pick. I'm gonna go for this player for some reason. I don't know. Matty Cash, 1.2%. It sounds awful. I haven't done that.
Why not?
I've got three to pick from: Larson, Kudos, or Trossard. I'm going to pick
Well, they're all them options.
Kudos.
Crikey, who knew all of those guys were still available?
I know. I went for Matty Cash.
Uh,
Oh, what am I doing?
mate, don't worry about it. My under one, I'm gonna go for Somerville because I went for him before and it didn't work at 0.5%. Crazy shouts. Rooter and Somerville. God, they're awful picks, aren't they?
I love it. I'm gonna go for Evan Nielsen.
He's
Uh,
not under one, so
Oh, sorry. God, yeah. God, he doesn't know one, so. Go on, Bal, you go next.
I'm going to go double West Ham and gamble on Scott's mate. Mm, no, let Scott have him. I'll have a random shout on Chris Willock for Newcastle.
I mean, Joe Willock.
Joe Willock. Yeah. Sorry, Chris
It's
Willock
Chris.
plays QPR, doesn't he?
Who's Chris Willock? And Scott. I've got to wrap up now because I've got to leave in 1 minute.
Yeah, no, I completely respect that. Let's just go for Liam Bailey then. Whatever.
Leon Bailey.
Liam. I thought you go for
uh,
Fulcrum. I thought Fulcrum was nailed for you then at 0.8%.
uh, I
Even
don't know
give
what
you that
it
one
is.
on a plate.
When double Villa, why not?
Nice. Love it. Well, lads, thanks ever so much for joining me this week. Sorry it has to be a slightly shorter podcast, but actually it might work out better because people might listen to it before Saturday because I knew it's getting out on a Thursday. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Don't forget to give us 5 stars where you get your podcasts from Spotify, Amazon, etc. Don't forget to follow us on social media platforms, Overboard Pod, Overboard P, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Scott, goodbye for now.
Yep, see you in a bit.
Barry, goodbye for now.
See you later.
And goodbye for me.